What if the man who once saved everyone on that plane is now the reason another flight is in danger? Season 2 of Hijack does not slowly ease you back into the story. It shocks you from the first moments and quietly asks a terrifying question. What if Sam Nelson is no longer the hero we trusted? Season 1 trained us to believe in Sam Nelson. He was calm when everyone else panicked. He used words instead of weapons. He talked killers into lowering their guns and turned fear into control. By the end of that flight, Sam felt like the safest person to be around. He was not a cop, not a soldier, but he still saved lives. That is exactly why Season 2 Episode 1 feels so uncomfortable from the start. The show knows what we believe about Sam, and it uses that belief against us. Episode 1 opens with a familiar sense of tension, but the energy is different. Sam is present, but he does not feel the same. His eyes linger longer. His silence lasts too long. He listens more than he speaks, and when he does speak, his words feel measured in a colder way. This is not the man reacting to chaos. This is someone who already knows where things are going. The episode never says this directly, but it wants you to feel it. What makes this episode so smart is that nothing Sam does is openly wrong. He does not threaten anyone. He does not hurt anyone. On the surface, he looks controlled and professional, just like before. But when you compare his actions to Season 1, the cracks start to show. In Season 1, Sam reacted to danger. In Season 2 Episode 1, danger seems to follow his lead. Moments unfold right after his involvement, almost like dominoes, falling in the exact order they need to. The writers understand that the biggest twist does not need explosions or shouting. The real shock comes from doubt. They slowly take away the comfort we once felt with Sam. They let the audience sit with that discomfort and ask questions we never thought we would ask. Is Sam still trying to stop a hijacking, or is he guiding it? Is he protecting people or positioning them? By the end of this section of the episode, the show has already planted the seed. Sam Nelson may not be the man we remember, and the scariest part is not the idea that he could be involved in something dark. The scariest part is that, so far, he looks completely in control while doing it. The first major scenes of Episode 1 are built around subtle choices. This is where Hijack proves it is not interested in repeating itself. Sam is placed in situations that mirror Season 1, but his responses are flipped. Before, he pushed for clarity and honesty. Now, he holds back information. Before, he tried to calm people quickly. Now, he lets tension grow. These are not mistakes. They are decisions. One of the most telling elements is timing. Events seem to move only after Sam speaks or acts. A delay here creates fear. A suggestion there creates confusion. The episode shows us how power does not always come from control through force. Sometimes, power comes from knowing when to do nothing. Sam's pauses feel heavy, almost planned. Every second of silence feels like it is buying time for something else to happen. The camera work reinforces this idea without drawing attention to itself. Sam is often framed alone. Even in crowded spaces, when others speak, the focus slowly drifts back to him, as if the story itself is watching him closely. This makes the viewer unconsciously do the same. You start tracking Sam instead of the threat. That shift is important. It changes how the episode is experienced. Dialogue also plays a key role. Sam's words are careful and clean, but they carry double-meaning lines that sound supportive can also be read as manipulative. Advice can feel like instruction. This is where the idea of Sam being the hijacker starts to feel less like a wild theory and more like a possible truth. The show never confirms it, but it keeps opening the door wider. What truly stands out is how other characters react to Sam. They trust him instantly. They relax when he speaks. This trust creates a perfect shield. If Sam were involved, no one would suspect him because the audience itself does not want to suspect him. The show uses that emotional bond as part of the tension. By the end of these early scenes, Episode 1 has done something clever. It has not proven Sam is guilty. Instead, It has proven that he could be, and once that idea exists, every action he takes feels dangerous in a new way. The theory that Sam Nelson could be the hijacker is shocking because it breaks the moral center of the show. But episode 1 quietly builds support for this idea through patterns. Sam is always one step ahead. He predicts reactions too accurately. He positions himself where information flows best. These are the same skills that helped him stop a hijacking before. Now, they look like the skills someone would need to run one. There is a moment where Sam steers a conversation without raising his voice. He frames choices so others think they are deciding, when in reality, they are following his lead. This mirrors negotiation tactics he used in Season 1, but the goal feels different. Instead of reducing danger, his guidance seems to organize it. Everything stays just unstable enough to move forward. Another key detail is how Sam handles risk. In Season 1, he avoided unnecessary danger. In Episode 1, he allows it. He does not rush to shut down threats. He watches them. That shift suggests confidence. Confidence usually comes from preparation. It feels like Sam knows which risks are safe and which ones are not because he understands the full picture. The episode also plays with moral language. Sam speaks about outcomes instead of safety. He talks about what has to happen rather than what should happen. These small changes matter. They suggest a man who believes in a larger plan, even if people get hurt along the way. This does not make him careless. It makes him convinced. What makes this theory powerful is that it does not turn Sam into a simple villain. If he is involved, he likely believes he is justified. That belief makes him more dangerous than someone acting out of greed or anger. It means he thinks he is right. By the end of this section, the question is no longer if Sam could be the hijacker. The real question becomes why he would do it and how far he is willing to go before someone notices. Episode 1 of Season 2 is not just about shock. It is about control, trust, and identity. The show asks what happens when the person best at stopping chaos decides to shape it instead. Sam Nelson has always been defined by his mind, not his strength. That same mind now feels sharper, quieter, and more closed off. The episode carefully avoids clear answers. It wants debate. It wants theories. It wants the audience to argue with itself. Every scene involving Sam feels layered. You can watch it once and see a calm professional. Watch it again, and you start seeing someone managing pieces on a board. That rewatch value is intentional. What makes this twist work is emotional memory. We remember who Sam was. We remember the relief he brought. Season 2 uses that memory as tension. If Sam falls, it hurts more because of who he used to be. If he is pretending, it hurts even more. By the end of Episode 1, the show has successfully changed the rules. Sam is no longer just a character we follow. He is a question hanging over every scene. Is he trying to prevent disaster, or is he designing it? That uncertainty becomes the engine of the season. Season 2 does not promise comfort. It promises conflict, doubt, and a slow burn of truth. And at the center of it all is Sam Nelson, standing calm as ever, while everything around him moves exactly the way it needs to. Season 2 Episode 1 becomes truly unsettling once you focus on how events unfold around Sam rather than what is openly shown. This part of the episode is built on mood, silence, and timing. Nothing explodes yet, nothing fully breaks, but everything feels slightly wrong. The tension does not come from loud danger. It comes from restraint. Sam is no longer reacting to chaos the way he once did. Instead, chaos seems to move at his pace. One of the most noticeable changes is how Sam manages information. In the past, he pushed for transparency because it helped calm people. Here, he controls what is shared and when. He listens carefully, then speaks only when necessary. This gives him power without making it obvious. Other characters begin to rely on him again, just like before, but this time that trust feels misplaced. The episode shows how easy it is for people to hand over control when someone sounds confident and calm. The pacing of these scenes is slow and deliberate. conversations stretch longer than expected. Silences are not rushed. This makes viewers uncomfortable because it feels like something should happen, yet nothing does. That waiting becomes part of the tension. Sam appears comfortable inside this delay. He does not try to speed things up or shut situations down. He lets pressure build. That choice alone separates him from the man we knew in season 1. There is also a clear shift in how Sam positions himself physically. He often stands slightly apart, close enough to be involved but far enough to observe. This distance allows him to see reactions clearly while staying unreadable himself. The show places him at the center of key moments without making him the loudest voice. That quiet presence makes him more influential, not less. People look to him for direction even when he gives very little. Another important detail is how Sam responds to risk. He no longer treats it as something that must be removed quickly. Instead, he studies it. He lets risky situations breathe. This creates the feeling that he knows which dangers will grow and which ones will fade. That level of confidence suggests preparation. It feels like he understands the structure of what is happening in a way no one else does. The episode also plays with repetition. Situations that once made Sam act immediately now make him pause. This reversal forces the audience to question his motives. Is he tired, changed, or is he intentionally letting things move forward? The show never answers this directly, but it keeps showing us the same pattern again and again until it becomes impossible to ignore. By the end of this section of the episode, the fear is no longer about the hijacking itself. The fear is about Sam's role in it. The story quietly shifts its focus. The threat is not just outside anymore. It may be standing calmly in the middle of the room, watching everything unfold exactly as planned. This section of episode 1 is where the theory about Sam stops feeling like imagination and starts feeling structured. The episode quietly stacks details in a way that feels deliberate, not accidental. Sam is not just present during key moments. He is positioned perfectly for them. He hears things others miss. He arrives just before situations shift. He understands reactions before they fully form. This is not luck. It feels like awareness. What stands out most is Sam's ability to guide people without forcing them. He frames conversations so others believe they are making choices on their own. He asks questions that sound harmless but push events in a specific direction. This was once his greatest strength as a negotiator. Now, that same skill feels unsettling. Instead of pulling people away from danger, he appears to be steering them closer while keeping his hands clean. There is also a strong sense that Sam already knows how certain moments will end. When tension rises, he does not look surprised. He looks focused. He watches reactions instead of panicking. That calm is different from courage. It feels calculated. Courage reacts in the moment. Calculation plans for it. The episode repeatedly shows Sam observing rather than intervening, as if he is measuring outcomes rather than preventing them. Another important detail is how Sam handles moral language. He avoids talking about right and wrong. Instead, he talks about necessity. He speaks in terms of outcomes, consequences, and inevitability. This shift matters because it shows a man who believes events must unfold a certain way. When someone starts thinking like that, they stop seeing harm as failure and start seeing it as cost. The episode also uses contrast to deepen suspicion. Other characters make mistakes. They hesitate. They show fears. Sam does none of these things. He is steady. In moments where uncertainty should exist, that steadiness creates imbalance. It suggests that he has information others do not. And if he does, the question becomes where that information came from. There is a moment where Sam could stop a situation early, but he chooses not to. The episode does not draw attention to it. It lets it pass quietly, but that choice echoes later when consequences appear. This cause and effect pattern repeats. Sam's inaction leads to escalation, and escalation gives him more influence. The structure feels intentional, like steps in a larger process. What makes this section powerful is that the show never forces a conclusion. It does not label Sam as the hijacker. It does something smarter. It gives him the exact profile of someone who could be skilled, trusted, calm, and invisible if Sam were involved. This is exactly how he would operate, not loudly, not violently, but through control of people and moments. By the end of this section, the idea of Sam as the hijacker no longer feels shocking. It feels possible, and that possibility changes how every future scene will be viewed. Every word he speaks, every pause he takes, every risk he allows will now carry weight. The episode succeeds because it turns trust into tension, and Sam Nelson becomes the most dangerous question in the story. This part of episode 1 works on a deeper level because it is built around details that only start to matter once you already feel uneasy. Nothing here is loud or obvious. These are the kinds of clues that slip past you the first time and hit harder when you think back on them later. The episode trusts the audience enough to hide meaning in plain sight, and Sam is always at the center of it. One of the strongest tools used here is repetition. Certain phrases are spoken more than once, but each time they land differently. Words about safety, control, and timing come up again and again, especially around Sam. At first, they sound reassuring. Later, they start to feel like reminders of a plan already in motion. Sam often repeats what others say before responding, almost like he is testing how much they know. This makes his conversations feel less like dialogue and more like quiet interviews. Visual choices also carry weight. Sam is frequently shown near exits, corridors, or points of movement. These are places where information passes through. The episode does not highlight this directly, but it keeps happening. He is never stuck. He always has a view of what is coming next. That positioning suggests awareness. It also suggests intention. The camera does not do this by accident. It wants the viewer to feel that Sam belongs exactly where he is standing. Another hidden layer comes from how Sam reacts to other people's fear. In Season 1, fear pushed him into action. Here, fear seems to relax him. He listens closely when people panic, not to calm them, but to understand them. This flips his old role. Fear becomes a source of data instead of a problem to solve. That shift alone changes how we should read his character. There are also moments where Sam gives advice that sounds helpful but creates more tension later. These are small nudges, not commands. He suggests waiting instead of acting. He encourages patience when urgency might have reduced damage. Each suggestion feels reasonable in isolation. Together, they form a pattern. The episode shows how manipulation does not need lies. Sometimes it only needs timing. The use of silence is especially important in this section. Sam does not fill gaps in conversation anymore. He lets them stretch. Other characters rush to speak, to explain, to justify themselves. Sam watches. Silence gives him control because it forces others to reveal more than they intended. This is a classic power move, and the show leans into it without calling attention to it. The episode also mirrors past moments from Season 1 but changes the outcome. Situations that once ended in relief now end in uncertainty. Sam stands in almost the same places, speaks in similar tones, but the result is different. This parallel structure invites comparison. It asks the audience to notice how much Sam has changed without ever saying it out loud. By the end of this section, the episode feels like it is daring the audience to stop trusting their memory. Sam Nelson is no longer defined by what he did before. He is defined by what he is allowing now. The hidden details, the repeated patterns, and the careful framing all point to the same unsettling idea. Whether Sam is the hijacker or not, he is no longer trying to stop the game. He is inside it, shaping it quietly, one moment at a time. This section of the episode shifts the focus from clues to motivation. And that is where the story becomes truly disturbing. The question is no longer just whether Sam could be involved, but why he would choose this path. Season 2 Episode 1 quietly suggests that Sam is no longer driven by the same values that once defined something inside him has changed, and the episode invites us to look at the emotional cost of what he survived before. Sam is not portrayed as angry or reckless. Instead, he feels heavy, controlled, and distant. This matters because it suggests long-term damage rather than a sudden break. Season 1 forced Sam into extreme moral pressure. He had to make choices where no option was clean. People lived, but the cost of those decisions never disappeared. Episode 1 treats the trauma as unfinished business. Sam did not walk away healed. He walked away altered. There is a sense that Sam now believes the system itself is broken. He speaks less about saving individuals and more about outcomes. This language reveals a man who may think short-term harm is acceptable if it leads to long-term stability. That mindset is dangerous because it removes empathy from the moment. When someone starts thinking this way, they stop asking who gets hurt and start asking what must happen. The episode hints that Sam may see control as mercy in his mind. Guiding events could feel kinder than letting chaos explode. If he truly believes disaster is unavoidable, then shaping it might feel like the responsible choice. This would explain his calm. It would explain his patience. It would explain why he allows certain threats to grow. He may believe he is managing damage rather than causing it. Another important layer is isolation. Sam feels alone even when surrounded by people. Trust comes easily to him from others, but he does not seem to offer it back. This imbalance creates emotional distance. Isolation often pushes people toward extreme logic because there is no one left to challenge it. Sam no longer debates his thoughts out loud. He carries them quietly, fully formed, and untested. The episode also suggests that Sam may no longer see himself as a hero or a villain. He sees himself as necessary. That belief is more dangerous than ego because it feels justified. When someone believes they are the only one capable of steering events correctly, they stop questioning their own actions. They stop checking their limits. They move forward because they think someone has to. What makes this section powerful is that the show never asks us to hate Sam. It asks us to understand him. Understanding does not excuse what he may be doing, but it makes it believable. Sam does not feel like a man chasing power. He feels like a man who has lost faith in how things work, and